Hi everybody, I'm ComradeCutiePie. This is going to be one of my first goes at this type of content, but I'm a founder of Collective, or Collective TV on YouTube and TikTok. And one of our other founders, Ivan De La Rosa, and Eddie at MidWestern Marx, have actually been getting into it over Trump being potentially taken off of the ballot in 2024. Unfortunately, when I'm looking through the original video by Eddie, Ivan's reply, and then Eddie's reply, I found that he has a fundamental misunderstanding of Ivan's argument and goes as far as to imply that Collective's stance on this issue is a liberal one, when he himself is unknowingly the one with the more idealistic position. But after you're done watching this, please go watch the last 3 videos. So Eddie's original video, Ivan's video, Eddie's reply, so that way you know I'm not lying, I'm not misrepresenting either of their videos. But without further ado, let's get into this. In Eddie's original video, he makes one main claim, that being that removing Trump from the ballot in 2024 is undemocratic. This claim, above all, is Ivan's main focus, making his own reply video saying Eddie's position.
Put the mid in MidWestern Marx sometimes.
So of course, Ivan put forward his own claims, or counterclaims, in a response video. The first being that January 6th was a legitimate coup attempt, regardless of its effectiveness or logistical capability of carrying out its goals, comparing it to robbing a bank with a balloon. And the second being that it doesn't matter if removing Trump from the ballot is undemocratic, because we live in a capitalist dictatorship. Ivan going on to say that ours and Eddie's time would be better spent telling the masses about this reality than arguing if fascists off the ballot is 1, justified, or 2, undemocratic. Now that you have context behind Eddie's most recent video in response to Ivan, let's break down his own point-by-point critique. So, Eddie first starts off his video by saying Ivan is criticizing him for saying Trump shouldn't be taken off the ballot, which is interesting that this is the sticking point when Ivan clearly states that it's fascist infighting, heavily implying that it's really not our concern. Secondly, Eddie implies Trump being taken off the ballot is unjustified because it was not a coup attempt, calling Ivan's analysis lazy. But I have one simple question in response. Should the Communist Party of Germany have argued against imprisoning Mustache Man for his failed attempt? If the liberals had decided to take him off the ballot in future elections, should the communists have published papers and held speeches arguing that it was undemocratic? I really don't think they would have. Eddie does later give a reason why we should not support Trump being taken off of the ballot, saying,
couldn't you make the same argument that we as communists are inciting insurrection by advocating for revolution? Does that mean that we should be barred from the political system?
Well, yes, you could make that argument. An argument made by anti-communists, the GOP, and DNC alike, and I'm sure you know this. In fact, the Communist Control Act of 1954 says as much. So why are you defending a group of people that would like to see us barred from the political system? Isn't counterproductive to strengthen and absolve the opposition of wrongdoings and hope that they'll show us the same courtesy? Isn't this pure idealism to expect them to do that? Finally, Eddie says that we should read an article by Gabriel Rockhill. Unfortunately for him, this does come to a couple different conclusions than he does, which is interesting to me since we're being told to read it so we can better understand his position. So here's a couple quotes from the reading. Rockhill says,
"The preservation of bourgeois democracy, even in the tattered and disgraced form it takes in the United States, is an important tactical objective for progressives. This can mean pressuring the political elite and others in positions of power to preserve the rule of law and aggressively combat fascism by prosecuting its leaders and foot soldiers, its financial backers, its media assets, and its political operatives. Indeed, everything possible should be done to curtail the growth of fascism in the U.S."
This quote is completely counter to the idea that Trump should be taken off of the ballot. And Rockhill also echoes a similar sentiment of mine earlier in this video, saying,
"This plan calls our attention to the ways in which elites can, and often do, use bourgeois democratic institutions and laws to impose their will in a despotic manner. In this regard, it is of the utmost importance to recall that Mussolini and Mustache Man rose to power within bourgeois democracies. They generally respected their protocols, while manipulating them to their advantage, bending the rules, and encouraging vigilante brutality and intimidation, before consolidating power and transforming them into openly tyrannical regimes. In the case of Trump, once his lawfare campaign ran out of steam, he made a last-ditch shambolic effort to stay in office."
Here the article comes to the conclusion that at the very least Trump's actions are comparable to those of Mustache Man and Mussolini, a conclusion which goes against the very basis of your initial argument. Now this video could have been longer, but I think it's already gone on long enough, so let's wrap this up. In conclusion, Rather than the substance of Ivan's argument that defending and going to bat for a fascist is counterintuitive, Eddie totally ignores this and decides to stick to Ivan's claim that January 6th was an attempted coup. Then he asks us to read an article which at the very end concludes that we should prosecute and weaken fascism as much as possible in a bourgeois dictatorship. This part is very interesting to me because his rebuttal is to read an article which at its very end agrees with the person he's disagreeing with. I encourage you, Eddie, and others to take a more thorough and principled position on this moving forward. Thank you so much to everybody who's watched this far in the video. I really appreciate it. I know it's been extremely long for my normal content, but please make sure to go to my Linktree, subscribe to us on YouTube, maybe even join the Discord, follow us on Instagram, Twitter, etc. So everybody have a great day.